How you guys doing today? It's Anthony Gangi, host of Tier Talk, coming back at you with another episode. We're going to talk about fire starters, or as Gary Cornelius calls them. Gary Cornelius is the author of Art of a Con, a lot of books on corrections actually. He calls them rogue officers. So when we come back from our sponsors, I'm going to talk about exactly what a fire starter is, or as Gary Cornelius calls them, rogue officers. So guys, if you like this channel, please subscribe, interact, engage, and hit that bell. That bell's going to notify you every time I post up a video. Okay, stand by for our sponsors.
I wanted to attend a university that had an intelligence program. I wanted to look at problems different. I wanted to increase my critical thinking abilities. AMU offered those avenues to expand. Obtaining your degree as an adult, you're actually paying yourself and investing in yourself. You can't put a dollar on it, it's priceless. It's something that can never be taken away from you.
American Military University. Learn from the leader.
Being a corrections officer takes its toll on even the strongest individuals. The constant need to perform at the highest level, putting your life at risk in a hostile environment, and the mental scarring of traumatic experiences. 31% of corrections officers show symptoms of PTSD, and 66% of people with PTSD also suffer with a substance abuse problem. The Transformations First Responders program is specially designed to help veterans and officers heal from the grips of addiction and PTSD in a comfortable, supportive, and serene setting. You are not alone. If you have questions about the services we offer, give us a call at 866-762-8454 to get more information on this affordable and life-changing program.
Okay, so let's talk about fire starters, or as Gary Cornelius calls them, rogue officers. So why do I call them fire starters? Well, first off, if you know what I'm talking about right now, comment below. Comment right now and tell me what you think a fire starter is. Or after the video's been completed and you understand what a fire starter or a rogue officer is, then comment what you call them. But basically, to me, a fire starter is that officer that comes in, let's say, comes into your unit, he's doing your break or she's doing your break, and then when you leave, they rile up the unit. So the fire has been started. And then when you come back, you're left with the mess. So you have to put out the fire. And those type of officers or staff members, they make our day that much longer. Because now we have to spend more time cleaning up their mess. And especially if we have a day that everything seems to be running smoothly. And I'm sure we've come across those officers or those staff members, you know, throughout our career. I'm sure they exist. But the other concern about these type of officers is they could put our lives at risk. I mean, think about it. They come into a unit, they agitate the inmates, they get them angry for no just cause. Every unit they work in, they seem to get the inmates aggravated. Now the inmates that wouldn't normally connect are now connected because now they're kind of all dealing with this one officer, so they're united on the fact that this officer just keeps riling people up. So the inmates are going to do what they got to do. They're going to grieve. They're going to do what they can. But if those grievances don't get heard and no one addresses this officer, there's a good chance that when that officer calls out sick, because sometimes those officers that stir stuff up, they know when there's something in motion to get them. It just happens. So that one day when they call out sick and you're just doing your normal routine, and let's say for some reason you have to open up a cell door to get an inmate out for whatever reason it may be, the inmate comes up to you and says, "Hey, my man, I'm sorry this had to be you." And you're like, "What's going on?" And then you're the one that gets assaulted because the plan's already in motion. But it wasn't meant for you. It wasn't meant for you. It was meant for the officer that stirs up this shit. As for management's got to address these officers or staff members that stir stuff up, because you're putting the lives, the fire starters putting the lives of the other staff members at risk. Plus, they're also putting themselves at risk. So as management, you need to address it. Now, sometimes our peers will. Our peers may tell the officer, "Hey, come here, let's get a cup of coffee real quick. You know, let's talk about your management style." But again, if the officer chooses not to listen and says, you know, you're an inmate lover or whatever the case may be, even though that's not the case, you just don't want a unit that's riled up for no reason, you know, because you want a day that's easy, you know, you may have to go above that officer's head. Because it's your life that's on the line. It's the life of your peers that are on the line. And then if management gets wind of it, their approach is going to be a little different. They're either going to address it during a PAR evaluation, after they've witnessed something. Or they could try to address it immediately by, investigating it and seeing if this officer needs to be removed or the staff member needs to be removed and go back for some form of retraining. But again, it's needed because this officer now has the power based on how they're stirring stuff up to unite inmates that wouldn't normally unite. So now just imagine for that officer who's left on the dorm. Inmates already in open areas, this person comes in, rows shit up and leaves, and now the next time this officer, not the fire starter, but the officer that's currently working the unit, walks that dorm, they can get assaulted, not based on their actions, but based on the actions of the fire starter. So I would like to think that people that, are starting these fires, they correct themselves immediately. And as peers, we should mention it to them. Hey, listen, stop. And if you choose not to stop, I'm going to write it. Not because I want to. I don't want to break that code of blue that we have. But unfortunately, you're risking my life. So obviously you don't care for me. Every time you come to my unit, you rouse stuff up. And then you leave me to manage the mess. So I need that shit to stop. And again, if the inmates are writing grievances on this, and you investigate his management, and there is some truth to this, and the grievances are happening in different areas, so it's not just a grievance coming from one inmate, it's coming from different inmates in different areas, the inmates are going to have to see that you've addressed this in some manner. Because if not, they're going to take matters into their own hands. So if you show that you've addressed it, not only will that help protect the officers or the staff members who are the peers of the officer that's stirring up something, but it's also going to protect the fire starter because you're correcting his action, you're pulling him out before it gets worse. So sometimes it's needed. Hey, listen, I know you're taking this as a punishment, but it's not. I'm protecting you from yourself. And again, we're just talking about fire starters and rogue officers. I thought it was a good conversation. Feel free to comment below if you ever dealt with a fire starter. That'd be interesting. But tell me what you call them at your facility. I'm curious. As always, guys, stay safe. Please, guys, subscribe, interact, engage, and hit that bell. This YouTube channel's for you guys, and I'm going to try to cover every topic that comes my way, and this was a question that was submitted to me. As always, guys, love you guys. Stay safe.